Hello, guys. We're so excited. We are on. Hi. We're so excited to be here today. If you are someone that's your first time watching and you just subscribed, so you're a new subscriber, you are looking at a brand new opportunity that we have worked on to present absolutely to all of our sisters. And so we kind of call this our listen up moment. We have done this listen up moment for a minute now, and we've done it in ways where we got podcasts going, working on a book forward. And so we just thought, how about now we take this more as an educational opportunity, right? So we have these 3 E's that America's Big Sister Foundation is all about, and that is to educate, empower, and encourage. So welcome to the America's Big Sister Foundation Real Talk moment. And so we have Deborah O in the building. Woo!
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you all to discuss mental health. And let's talk about it.
Yes, let's talk about it. And so Mother's Day just passed yesterday. Right? So that's what you see in our background. I got a couple of Mother's Day thing in there just in case people are like, wait a minute, what's all that? We understand that also. With All Girls Matter, we also have a program that's called Go Girls. And our Go Girls program is around our motherless teen girls. And so this mental health space absolutely is a space that we have to continue to discuss and be a part of, even when it comes to our separate program, our mentoring program, because we understand that mental health is definitely something that our girls battle with as well. So if you're just getting on, we're going to start our conversation, but we want you to do some sharing, right? And so, Deborah, you told me that I can share. You say I can go where that live is at, and once
if you go to the live, to the live and click the 3 dots. You should see 3 dots below your video, and click that, and you should see share, and you can share it to any platform. You can share it in a message. I just shared it in my group messages with my life group, shared it with my family group, shared it on Facebook. Everyone tune in.
I'm on it now. Just did it. There we go. Pressing share. This is so good. So this is our Monday talk. And so if you're getting on, we are looking to do this every Monday. Everybody say every Monday.
Every Monday. And Tragil, they need to remember to go to your YouTube and subscribe.
Good job. Yes. Go to your YouTube and subscribe. So we want you to come on every Monday, but subscribing allows what? Do we get notifications when they subscribe, or when we're about to get on, they kind of know what's going on as well?
Yes.
Is that the benefit for subscription? Perfect.
They will. Yes, they will be notified as we're going live, and they can also set a schedule for when we do go live.
Awesome. All right. So I'm looking right now for my code. And so you can press it. You have to unmute it. There we go. All right. So listen, I am here. Deborah O is here, and she is giving us how to do it. And I think, you know what, since you're already on a roll here, we're going to keep on going with you leading in this conversation today. How about that? How we do this? So this is chat time.
Let's do it.
Yes. And so the topic is, let's talk about mental health. What is mental health? How about, let's start there.
So what is mental health? I know for many years it was so taboo to talk about mental health, and we never really understood what it was. You always thought, that you were crazy or that you actually needed therapy, but no, mental health is a serious condition that many people actually have to deal with, and it affects your cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being, and it's all about how people think, feel, and behave. So if you're affected mentally, then you're not doing well in any area of your life. And it's so important to take care of your mental state.
And so we tapped on that conversation about it was so taboo in the past. I really, I think for me, I'm actually happy that we're having these conversations now, right? Because
Same.
it was something that people wasn't having before, but now, it's a normal conversation and no one feels bad anymore. And I have these conversations with young people, and they use these words, depression, that word wasn't said before, I mean, they didn't quite, they didn't quite understand what that was. And so we found ourselves now having a conversation so healing can actually take place. I think that's the biggest deal for us is that we recognize there is a problem, which has become the first step on solving those problems, right? Because the sooner we can get healing, the more we can, get healed, to get better, right? And so better version of you falls into truly assessing what your mental health is. And so you said that mental health is your feelings, your emotions, and it's really being able to know, is it intact? And you know that, right? You'll be able to know that from your own self. You'll be able to say, I'm feeling, it is a different space. Would you say that a lot of us is kind of probably in a space where we should be assessing our mental health due to COVID?
Yes. Okay. Yes, definitely through COVID. I know that there are many cases. Everybody that I know of in some form or fashion has struggled with some form of mental health. Either it's bouts of feeling lonely because you're trapped in the house and you don't see anybody and all you see are people on social media. That's your only communication. But we all know that that's not real communication. If you don't have that human interaction, that is something that we all really need. We were never meant to be by ourselves. We were meant to have any kind of relationship, friendships, sibling relationships. It's so important.
That is so good.
Human interaction is huge.
It's huge. And so we're not created to be alone. We're not created to be by ourselves. And so many scientific studies shows that when they'll say what happens in our mental space, what's released in our mental space when we get hugs and when we're in interaction in social space, there's good things released in the brain that allows us to, feel happy and help us because we're in this space with someone else. So cool pointer to add, that we're not created to be alone. Right. So I would say, I'll tell some people, stop beating yourself up, right? If you're watching.
Exactly. I would definitely say, stop beating yourself up. You are not alone. You're not the only one that's feeling lonely. I know I struggle even before COVID. This is something that I've struggled with, and feeling that I'm alone and no one cares about me and all these different crazy feelings, but people do care about you. And just because no one is reaching out doesn't mean that no one cares.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is going through something different.
And so one thing I always, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you finish.
I was going to say one thing I always, and this is something that I have to remind myself to do as well. If there's ever something that I need to give that to somebody. If I need a friend, I need to reach out to a friend and be a friend. If I need encouragement, I need to reach out to somebody and encourage somebody. And in me doing that, I am giving myself whatever that is in return.
That's good. So so if you're watching and you're in a space that, we just talked about loneliness, your answer is, let's find out a way to change the narrative on it, right? Mm-hmm. Let's find a way that would then, and you say your way was to, help, talk to someone else or give someone else that positive that you were looking for. Mm-hmm. And so your thing is, listen, if I keep doing that, you understand that it can be reciprocated. So that's really a good thing for some that's listening, right? That's that's something that you don't have to go to the doctors to do, right? This is something that we're here for. We're here to help that average person, that average, even young person, even, and what we're talking, the reason why mental health is not just a teenage conversation, which is why I keep calling it just listen up, is because we're all being affected by it. Mm-hmm. we're kind of called to have these conversations around it. So I love it, love it, love it. There are some comments that is coming to such an important topic, and I'm so happy we're destigmatizing mental health. Oh, I love
Yes,
that.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Yep. And
So
we're
good.
normalizing that conversation. And
Yes,
that's huge to have it now. We're normalizing it. We're having it so we can be a healed people, like generationally. We can now, be able to, we don't have to keep passing down these
exactly.
emotional issues because some things,
Anxiety and depression. Yes,
yeah, so many
because
have
they're real.
Yeah. So many have operated with it, for so long and they haven't been healthy. And then one thing leads to another,
Mhm.
right? And now we can find ourselves in even a deeper hole, right? And so if we're watching and we're assessing ourselves today, we can get ahead of those deeper, darker moments. And so I love that you said, hey, let's change the narrative on it. And that's what you've done. Amazing.
So
Um,
good.
yes. And so, talking about these serious conditions, what are some other, maybe we can throw out some more things that, that we talk about mental health. What are some other things that they could, or what we do see?
How
Be,
does it affect your relationships? Mental health. How does mental health affect your relationships?
yeah,
Like whether it's a friendship, spousal relationships, um, brother, sister, family relationships, roommates,
yeah.
work relationship.
Yeah, how is it affecting here? And again, I'm coming off not as the expert, but just from experience too.
Mhm.
I like to make sure I make note of that. One of the experiences, or what I've done, is emotionally, I have to protect. Like we're in a season now that we're all dealing with something, and so I use that word capacity. So we all don't have the capacity to keep pushing it off in these other relationships. And, some of us are dealing with some things and we really feel like right now I need to let them know how I feel because I need
Mhm.
to get free from this. This may not be the time.
Right.
The person on that receiving end, that other relationship, may just as well not have the capacity to receive it. And
That's
so,
good.
as we are in a very tough state emotionally, some of us are really becoming drained. Some of us are, we're really hitting a rock bottom in some of these spaces. That I really think we need to be careful in these relationships that we have because it does affect them. If I'm all jiggy and I'm all fussy and I'm all this, and the next person is like, so it's getting and the division begins to
It's
happen.
affecting. Mhm.
And right
So
now,
how do you So
go
how
ahead.
do you know if or how do you know when it's going to affect somebody or somebody doesn't have the capacity to handle what you're about to lay on them when they're not able to carry that burden, help you carry that burden?
You know what? I one of the things was to ask, like, sometimes, do you have a moment to talk? However, though, um, I just feel right now, this season, period, you don't even got to ask. I'll just say right now,
Mhm.
I need us to learn to journal, right? Put it
Yes.
on paper, release it off of you. I'm never telling you not to release it. Journal it, write it, get it off.
Yes.
I know some of us can't afford a therapist, but just
Mhm.
if I could talk to someone that knows what to do with it. Okay. All of us don't know what to do with it. When someone talks to me, I am clear that I'm not going to now consume what that thing is that you're dealing with. I'm going to let you vent because some of us just need to get it off.
Yeah.
But again, not allowing it to affect that relationship one on one with the people that's
That's
around
good.
you, all because you are boiling over, but that you're truly finding that outlet. An outlet is necessary. I do believe
That's
that.
good. That's good. I love the piece that you added about journaling. I even for me, from my experience, I didn't understand or I didn't realize how much journaling, how important journaling was. And every time I do, like I reflect back on the past, and it gives me a space to just lay out my feelings, and that reflection piece, like it just reminds me of how far I've come. And sometimes even in my bouts of whatever issues I'm dealing with, I get caught up in how my life isn't my life may not be where I thought it would be. I'm not married yet. I'm still not married. I've set those deadlines for myself. And because I've set those deadlines and I'm not meeting those deadlines, I start to carry that burden, that weight.
Yeah.
But if you look back on how far you've come, you realize that you've been through a lot. So just because you're not hitting those deadlines that you set for yourself, that doesn't mean that you haven't done anything.
That's so good. That is so good. So I think I'm pronouncing Tosin. Is that the name wrong? But Tosin is giving me good love right now. I love it. Tosin's like, preach. It is really important to talk about it. Journaling is a big release. Meditation. Yes. Meditation is a good release, but Sarah, I think we have a question here is, what's the best way to let family or friends know that you need help, right? And so here's, again, the opportunity we have in this type of format that we've opened up is to have dialogue. And so if this is on that want to add something to that, we are so open for it, and I'm watching, so I'll be able to read that. What's the best way to let family and friends know that you need help right now, right? I'll go in, here's my thought on letting people know that you need help. First of all, we don't necessarily have the ability to articulate it, I think that's one of the things we have to, we don't have necessarily the ability to articulate it. So there are other ways to express. And I go back to saying writing is a way to express, but is something that you can express beforehand. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we'll get to, it'll be all by the time we all off by the time we write it, instead of just kind of talking about it ahead of time and just saying, and to be able to say, I'm okay. How come we feel that when people answer the phone, they be like, how you doing? I'm okay. No, I don't have to tell you I'm okay all the time. Now, I do believe in speaking things as though they were, and I do believe in, speaking power and speaking life into your day. But when you know that you've done you've done all of the different tools and you really need help, it's okay. And here's the reason why. Here's why it's okay now, because we have normalized the conversation. So nobody think you're crazy. So I would suggest that in most families, normalize the conversation as much as possible. So by the time someone open up their mouth and say, I'm not feeling well, something's not right, I'm a little off, no one's looking at you in no kind of way besides, okay, let us deal with it together, as a family. Tosin said society actually set those deadlines. They said you set in deadlines and pressures, and don't carry other people's burden, leave their backs them to carry on. Yeah. And so, that's absolutely, right. Like those, so when we talk about being burdened down, there it goes right there. So even if we get into that conversation of why are you so stressed? Why can't we live life in peace? Why we can't live life on our terms? Why can't we? Who's questioning it? Who's judging it? Why? Why do I care? Right. So getting delivered from the opinion of others. I remember I got so free one time. I was like, I am free. I am free. Like, I get it. Your opinion, and what society is saying that needs to be done, and me comparing myself with what others are doing. Like, I had to be set free. And it's not just a one time, you have to do it continually. Every time you see your spirit's getting all anxious about something, God said, be anxious of nothing, right? So that whole anxiousness, you have to deal with it and be like, no, get thee behind me, talk to yourself, right? And yes, just on another note, y'all queens looking super fly. You know what? You got y'all. Here.
Thank you.
All right.
That's so good, Tragil.
This is good. We really didn't want to keep you guys long, so we got 10 more minutes, right? So let's keep going, because it's been good so far, right? We want to make sure
amazing.
We want to try to come back, so that's why we're not gonna make it too long. Thank you for giving us that scripture, Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Yes. I gotta always get you something. And Tosin say, if they embrace you, if they empathize, who belongs your pyramid. If they gossip or deflect or trivialize your outreach, you know who to exclude from your pyramid of support. Win. I love it.
So
Right?
good.
Yeah.
So
So good.
good.
Yeah, I'm as a basketball girl. I have this thing about team. I have this thing about truly being in a position where you are understanding who your starting five is. And your starting five is not always necessarily the starting five that you started life with, right?
Mm.
Dads, sisters, brothers. Sometimes your starting five is those that that will be able to help you through some of these processes. But you don't need a ton of people, right? Your starting five knows you. And so sometimes they can even sense it. And that's important for some people to even give you that opportunity to ask, how are you? And I think we need to do that more often. No, how are you? And I want to know, how are you? So how can we be proactive with the people that we love is the question that we can begin to ask ourselves.
For sure.
How
I
are
like that, intentionally reaching out and intentionally connecting,
Yes,
with those that are in our circle.
yes. And us finding the truth to say, you'd be like, my disclaimer is this is my truth. But yeah, it's tough. And so again, we're not professionals. We're here as big sisters. We're here as sisters that has been sisters in the struggle, but sisters that have experience. Both of us have experience. You don't have to know our entire resume. I'm sure just by y'all listening right now, y'all understand we are women with experience. So we understand and we get it. So this is a great listen up moment.
Tragil, I wanted to ask you, so we've talked about a couple of disorders like depression, anxiety. Then there are some serious ones like trauma-related, schizophrenia. But what about like eating disorders and substance abuse?
All things eating or substance abuse. I mean, those are really responses to a deeper rooted issue, right? And that's what I find that when I do talk to people about some of those actions, these are more action issues that kind of comes up. And a lot of times it does take, again, that mental health moment to have that discussion around that, because these are more the answers that we use just towards that, right?
That's a coping mechanism.
Good. That's it. That becomes that is. So if my eating disorder is because it makes me happy and it gives that for that moment. And so and then it becomes more of something that I find that it becomes a repetition for, I just want to keep doing it because I am trying to cope. And that's a good telltale sign for some people. If your family have, that's doing something excessive, that that's normally not them, it is that again, that's when you ask the question, how are you?
Right.
That's it. So I mean, like you said, with the trauma, when you talked about trauma now, I think here's a funny thing, and I'm gonna say a funny thing. I think the thing about trauma is a lot of times we don't know that we're in a trauma or we have experienced a trauma situation until we're
That's good.
Yeah. And so we have learned, and I think I'm saying culturally, some of us have learned to kind of live life trauma after trauma, right? Problem after problem. Or I fixed that, or I'm over that hump, or I'm over that hump. And we keep going and we keep going, and we don't even understand. We have just been crisis hopping. This year alone has been a big crisis hop for me, and I just at one moment I thought, okay, we had a snowstorm and we were without lights, we were without gas. It took me back to my childhood, not having things. And that was a very big crisis moment for me. Well, it lasted for a week and I felt, we good. I'm out of it. We're in the clear. We got lights finally, instead of kind of dealing with that moment, dealing with how it made me feel, dealing with the kind of how I responded. And taking a moment to step back, so dealing with these traumas are huge for us to deal with them before they build up and we kind of create kind of an explosion, because that explosion then brings out all kinds of feelings. And I do say this, most times we didn't dealt with it. We've dealt with some of these things, but it'll just
Mhm.
bring it up. I'm like, and I even have to tell I've dealt with this one before, but it came back and visit me. And guess what? I didn't pass that moment. So I gotta,
So good.
we get stronger as we go, but we have to
Exactly.
these crisis moments.
So then trauma related mental health doesn't necessarily mean like a car accident, or like it doesn't always have to be something accident related. It can be like you said, you went through you guys were down and under in snow for a week. Like for you, that was traumatizing.
Yes, that's so good. And then you said for me, oh, that's a whole other subject, right? And how we look at people's life and we begin to judge because
Hmm.
we don't feel that that is a traumatic space.
Yes,
Why is we? It's easy for
so
us.
good.
Yes,
For
funny.
you,
Oh,
that could be traumatizing. I'm originally from Ohio. We're used to the snow. That's nothing. We
exactly. We'd be
don't
like,
school in that.
yes. For others,
That's nothing. For Texas, that's
this has taken people out. You hear me? I mean, bro, and we're smiling, but that's so real for people. And so
mhm.
we, as a people, as much as we're getting so sensitive to the word and normalizing the word mental health, we definitely got to get sensitive to how everybody accept these things that's going on in their life.
Exactly.
How everybody register those things in life and be
Yes.
able to help them with conversations to change the narrative.
So
Um,
good.
yeah. So even those Tosin said those light mental health issues, light. They, what I'm saying, they may it's a light thing. No, we
Mhm.
just have to do a better job at dealing with it. And,
Exactly.
crisis hopping and then finding ourselves in a hole that some of us can't come out of when we do too much crisis hopping. We got to deal with them as we're experiencing. And
So what
so
are
some
some ways?
go
Sorry, go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was just going to ask some ways that we can care for our mental health. What are some things that we can do? I know for me, like my outlet is working out. Everybody that knows me knows that I'm into lifting and training. I'm all about it. That is my happy place.
I love that.
That's
Yeah.
where I get in the zone and I just go to town and I'm happy to lift weights and get stronger, and that's if I am feeling down, that's typically where I turn.
And that is if I was to, like say if we did a rate from 1 to 10, what could you do right now today to help your mental health? That's definitely my number one or two things is to
Mhm.
work out, exercise. Why? Because scientifically it's releasing. Um,
Yes.
and so I don't want to mispronounce that word, but it's
And
releasing the endorphin
endorphins.
in your brain. It's releasing it. The second thing I would say is therapy. Tosin
Yes.
therapy. Tosin swears by it. And so, Tosin, if you swear by it, I would love to know if you have any, numbers or any resources to someone that, from a cost standpoint, that's cost effective. Because here it is. Here's my thing about that therapy space is we'll prefer to go out and spend $100 on a pair of red bottom or I'm saying, and spend all this money on other things instead of
Mhm.
understanding that investment on your mental health is one that you
Yep.
you know you won't ever, the return on that is the return
Yep.
on that investment is one that will never go out of style. So that is
Yes.
huge for us to find help, but yes, journaling is three. I do feel that is
Yes.
a way, to help
That's
out,
a
to help
huge one.
release. These are some things you can do right now, right today. Change that. We talked about the meditation. Meditation, people kind of get freaked out about it sometimes because it's like, oh, what we doing? And meditation is kind of creating breathing exercises. Go and Google like sounds, putting yourself in a moment where you're sitting still. You're examining your entire body. I was
Mhm.
one meditation and they were like, from the top of your head to the sole of your feet, just begin to go straight down the body and feel yourself. I remember laying there like, I never did this before. This is beautiful. Go online and definitely do that.
And
To
your
help.
breathing, it gives you a moment to focus on your breathing and um, Just really
Okay.
inhale and exhale, like just getting in deep breaths.
Yes.
That for me is huge in some moments. When I'm feeling stressed, it's just like, okay, just take a 10-second deep breath and you just feel so much better.
Yes. And so someone said, Sarah saying, if someone's asking if you're 8, what can kids do for this mental health space?
Ooh,
What can kids do for this mental health space?
that's a
And
good question.
it is a good question. And so the way I will answer it though, will be to release. I mean, because here's the thing of what I'm talking, when we're talking about from an adult standpoint, these things can also be positioned
Mhm.
for our young people. And
Yes.
so when we talk about now, our kids are not going outside anymore, because they're on this computer all the time.
Mhm.
We're missing the opportunity for them to release those positive things in their mental health. Go and run with them. Go play chase with them.
Yes.
Get outside with them. And if you're 8 years old, just gotta go running. And then, kind of have that opportunity to release it, to run. We're not outside enough. We're not getting our vitamin
Exactly.
D. Now, again,
Mhm.
I'm not a doctor. I don't want nobody to think that, but our low vitamin D is affecting us, people. I
Yes.
need us to know that. And so a lot of times we don't want to be in the sun, and again, I'm only going to speak culturally. We'd be like, oh man, I don't want to get in the sun. You know what that means to be in the sun? Child, get me out. I was with my friend today. Get in the sun. No, turn your little tail in the sun. It is what you need, that vitamin D.
Yes.
I literally have an app on my phone that actually tells me what is the time in my city where my rays are up the highest. And
Mm.
I will go out the time
And
that
that's
it,
when you're getting the most vitamin D.
and that's when you get the most vitamin D. And because yes, our young people are suffering as well. And so if you're watching
Yes.
and you're young, I want you to find yourself outside a little more, get some of that. That's that natural vitamin D. And getting ourselves in a way, again, where we're journaling. They can do the same thing. They can sing, they can meditate as well. I know that what we're talking about now, our young people can do just the same. So, yes, yes, yes. We're feeling bad for the young people, but just know that we can go and play. You remember when we used to play outside?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Like
Wow.
I think we didn't have to be back in the house till what the street lights came on. Like
Yes.
the
And
doors weren't locked. We were in and out all day long.
hey, we found games to play, and so
Riding bikes, chasing people, just out and about, doing whatever.
making up.
Drinking from the water hose.
We was everything. One teacher, would you put your hands out? Put your hands out. But we were outside. And so we're again wanting to encourage that today. Go outside, play.
Yes.
Though we are in a COVID time, you can still find ways to because this is for your mental health sake. So go outside, do some running, do some jogging. Count how fast you was able to run down the street. Time yourself. Get faster as you go. I mean, we gotta do we have to do, guys, all day to get it done. So,
and family activities.
yes.
I was
What are
going to
some?
say family activities for the young people.
Yeah, yeah. So, what are some of those or you're just saying for the young people to kind of be with the family? If we have
Yes. So
yeah,
just doing activities together as opposed to watching TV or everyone is sitting on their phones or their iPads. Just do family activities together. Sit down and eat dinner together. Talk about the day. Give them a space to begin sharing, so that when the time does come, if the time does come, they don't it's not just like a random thing for them to be talking to the parents, because it's a common thing that that the space is available.
yes.
If you make it an everyday event where, hey, let's sit down, we're going to eat dinner, how was your day, what did you do? And then
Mm,
when that time comes when they do need some help and they're not in the best mood, they're able to come to you
yeah.
in space.
Yeah. I just wanted you guys to know that that app, that Sky Tracker app as well. Any other apps that you can, I think for when it comes to games, there's so many games on these apps. I mean, so what I would suggest, even, tracking, even what we talked about for games, using what they use. They use the technology, use what they use to, but again, let us get us all involved. It was that one game where you put the name up and you kind of got to guess it.
What, Heads Up?
Heads Up,
Heads Up.
Yeah, so there's ways to implement the two, but let us get into that space where we begin to help each other. I do know that we need each other in this season. This is a very tough season that we're all going through. God hasn't created for us to kind of be in this space, which is why we're all kind of responding differently. And so we want to make sure that we're here and we're with you guys, and we are, loving on you guys. So we're kind of at the end of our conversation. Deborah, you've done amazing.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for joining us. I did want to also provide some resources, Tragil. And I think we'll include this every week, but we have 2 hotlines. There's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That's 800-273-8255.
One more time, 1-800.
273-8255.
All right, so that's the National Suicide Line. I sent that one to you guys.
And then there's also the America's Big Sisters helpline. So if you're a young girl and you just want somebody, another female to talk to, give us a call. We are here for you. That's what this is for. That number is 312-544-0980.
Awesome. So I put both of those numbers in the chat. I didn't pin them necessarily, but I put them both in the chat. And so we had a great conversation. Awesome job, ladies. Why, thank you. Why, thank you.
Thank you.
And so I love this toast. And and so what we do know is that this is a great conversation. It's a great platform to have these discussions. Thanks to Deborah O for the vision to make it more of a discussion and not so much of us putting, we could have absolutely put some, what do we call slides
and a full formal presentation. But I wanted it to be more conversational and, just share our own experiences.
Yes. And all because we know that there are some experiences that you guys may have dealt with and some answers to some things that you may have done. And so this is why our audience is key. So subscribe, forward it to other people so we can make sure that the discussions is done. And, and the questions are being answered and we're talking about them together. So shout out to Tosin, who's definitely been in the conversation. Shout out to Sarah that picked up on some of the conversation as well. And Talika, we thank you for getting on to tell us we did an awesome job. So we love you guys. Very organic conversation. That's what it's about. This is sisterhood. This is a safe space. And so we'll be back on next Monday, the same time, 7 p.m. So mark your calendars. Next Monday, let's give them a little peek of a title. What's the title next Monday?
Next Monday, our topic will be on, you didn't let me know we were going to mention that. It will be on mental health.
Yeah, I wanted to give them a little bit of a sneak peek.
It's a trap.
Oh, there we go. It's a trap. Yes.
It's a trap.
Yay.
So the discussion, it's still on mental health, but it's a trap.
It's a trap. So listen here, y'all know trap house. I wanted y'all to know, like, we're ready. That's why I told you. I didn't prepare you ahead of time. I just need the people to know we're ready. We prepared. We got all 4 weeks. We're going to start shooting the flyers out for you guys if y'all want to share it with other people as well. From other social medias, you guys will see that flyer definitely being pulled around and pushed around. You'll see it on my page. You can always, I think I'm going to put it in my story. Definitely snatch it off of our pages and post it because especially if you feel that this isn't conversations that others should be getting. So right when we talk about the problem, here it is. You may not have the answer, but you may know somebody where the answers can get done. And this is when you become the answer, you know, so be the change you want to see, and share the information, right? Please give us a way to shout out it on social media. Yes. Absolutely. So we'll make sure you guys get the flyers. I don't think I can actually put the flyer here, because I haven't pulled it up. But if you follow America's Big Sister on social media, definitely go to our Facebook page as well as YouTube page. And so you'll see, we're gonna make this so big. Y'all gonna be surprised. Y'all gonna be like, "Ooh, y'all are the first one to see this," but y'all gonna see. We're gonna keep on putting it together and pushing it out, because we definitely want others to know that we're here, and we have information and we have the sister conversation that's necessary. So we'll see you next week for, It's a Trap, and that's it for us. See you later.
Bye.
Here we go. And